Hello everyone, so today we're going to be painting beautiful, seamless, fluid, and dreamy koi fish. So I found this beautiful art installation the other day and I knew I had to paint these koi fish because they just remind me of watercolors, the way the colors blend together. Okay, so to paint this koi fish, I'm going to be using Arches watercolor paper in cold press. I'm using a very light pencil to sketch out the koi fish first. I don't want any hard lines on the koi fish once I place the inks and the watercolors down, so I'm just painting this, sketching this very lightly. All right, so for the inks, I'm using a red color by Aero color. I'm also using an orange color by Dr. P.H. Martin's. And I'm also going to use a crimson watercolor by Winsor and Newton and sort of like an oxblood color by Yasutama, which is a Chinese watercolor brand. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to place the water down on the koi fish first, only where I want the inks to go. So I'm just going to place these little pockets of water across the koi fish and then place the inks and let the inks flow wherever it wants to flow. That's the beauty of watercolors. I say it all the time. The beauty of inks and watercolors and any kind of liquid medium is that it kind of has a mind of its own, which is just gorgeous. All right, so you can see that I'm taking a small angle brush and I'm just placing my inks into the water just in these small little swipes of color, and you can see that the water is letting it flow out only in the area where there's water, not over the whole fish. All right, so I'm doing the second section. For this section, I'm mixing together the Aero color and the Dr. P.H. Martin's orange. So you can see that it's giving like this red and orange is giving like a lobstery red type of color, which is beautiful. And if you feel like you've put down too much ink in a certain area, just take a brush, a clean brush, dip it in water with no paint inside of the water, just clear water, and just spread the inks out. And so that's a nice way to get a very seamless feel of your watercolor paintings. It's just placing more water on it. I'm going to do the same thing for the fins on the side of the fish. I'm just putting down clear water and letting that water touch the section where there's already ink, so the inks are just flowing out to the side. All right, so I'm taking a small Japanese Hake brush and I'm putting a little bit of the ink directly onto the brush. The brush is completely dry, so there's no water on it because I want those dry brush strokes to be on the pages to mimic the fins of the fish. Okay, so guys, that's pretty much the base of the fish. I want to bring a lot more depth and definition to it without making it stiff. So I'm going to take my Chinese brush and I'm going to put a little bit of black ink. So this ink is by Liquitex. It's a jet black ink. And I'm just swiping down the middle of the brush really, really lightly. And if you feel like this brush is too big for this section, you can always use like a pointed watercolor brush. Okay, so also with this brush, I am putting a few dots, just kind of eyeballing where I want the dots to go. So if you've ever seen a koi fish, you know that they have like these pockets of color, and then on other areas, they are like these they're not stripes, they're just like these stippled dots of color. Usually they're orange or red. So I'm going to do this in black instead, but I'm just stippling it really lightly around the base of the fish. And as we get closer to the bottom, I'll use that Chinese watercolor, which is in like a maroonish color, a dark, really dark red. Okay, so I'm taking the same brush to get a little bit of definition for, a little bit more definition for the fins. There are also fins on the top of the fish that I'm going to draw with this same brush. You can see how the bristles are spread apart to give it the texture. And I could have done this section also with the Japanese Hake brush. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to do, which is my favorite part, is I'm going to take some white paint. This is a white gouache paint by Horadam, and I'm just going to put a few dots on the fish to bring a little bit more negative space onto it. And I'm really just eyeballing it. I'm going to put it on the tail and also the top and a little bit of the back of the body of the fish. And this brush that I'm using is a brush by Van Gogh. It's a watercolor brush, and it's pointed at the end. And I really like to use this for if I'm trying to get like really fine details, or especially for this process when I'm putting this gouache paint. Okay guys, so that's pretty much it. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit more black ink, and I think the eyes of the fish need a little more definition. Like I said, this is not a verbatim painting of a koi fish. This is my interpretation, which I think is really nice if you have a subject and you just take it to another place and make it your own. Alright guys, thank you again for watching. I will see you next week. Please subscribe below if you haven't already, so that you don't miss out on weekly videos that I upload teaching you how to use watercolors and inks and how to do fashion illustrations. Alright, ciao.